Thank you so much, Lotte. And thank you for inviting me for this talk. I think it's really exciting to talk for you guys. You're working with some very important topics. So yeah, I've been invited to talk about how we create content for the young audience. And this is both in front as viewers, but also behind the camera. So for the next 20 minutes, I'll tell you about our mission, our goals, for the TV station, and I'll share some data with you, and hopefully I can create some inspiration and some for thought. Maybe there's an interesting perspective that we can collaborate in. We'll see. So to understand where I come from, I've always been interested in media and education through media, and I've always watched the world through a lens, really. And as early as high school, I wrote about intimidation on screen, and this was related to the reality program Paradise Hotel. You know this program, I believe. And I believe one of the main issues when producing TV programs, I think that's the lack of understanding the term disembedding, which is happening more and more because of modernization, right? So most of education of children happens in institutions and through media, and everybody knows this, I believe. But this also means that media has a huge responsibility when communicating with the young target audience. And I think we have a huge responsibility and we have a huge educational role, and I think often we forget this, maybe. So a few years back, I watched this series about young kids, and they were dancing after school at this dance studio. And in this series, they were using words as bitch and hoe, and I was really, really shocked about this because the media is trying to reach the young audience. They might have reached some young kids using these words already, and these kids could reflect in this normal everyday situation, but they also talks to a whole lot of kids who are not using these words, and now these kids will see the words used in a normal situation, and they will add this to their vocabulary. So now the media is actually educating the young kids, and I don't think that the media is always aware of this role that they have. So I think we often forget the responsibility that we're giving as a media. So now you know a bit about where I come from. So there's a lot of different types of medias: news, entertainment, inspirational media. And I founded Next TV and the Media Academy, and I'll get more back to this academy too. So the Next TV's goal is to educate, inspire, and motivate young people to get out there and be part of the local society. This can be through a network, education, jobs, and so forth, events. And we're doing this through portraits of work-life, educations, entrepreneurships, events, as I talked before, right? And this is to inspire the viewer to go out there and get a job, or maybe start their own business to reach for the dream that they're going around with, right? So an example of a work life can be a blacksmith, bartender, dancer, can be a lot. So you just name a job and we'll do the portrait, because my goal is to reach all of them, which is, I think, impossible, but we're going for that. And our latest portrait was of a ceramicist, educated at Bornholm and now living in Odense. We're running a thriving business. And I think this is really interesting because she's in her early 20s. And it's a creative industry, and it's almost impossible to do that, and she's doing it. So one of our main issues is all the limits that occur in our production. So we are a local TV station, and we get a very limited amount of funds every year. As local TV station, you get around 800,000 kroner per year. And that goes to people, rent, marketing. So I guess you can already see huge problem there, right? So that's production time and marketing. That's one of our main issues when producing as a local TV station. And to reach the high quality of content that we really want to hit, I've created a kind of a new way of producing. I've never heard of anybody producing like this, so I guess it's new. But our programs are interview based, so it's 45 minutes of interviews, and we do 2 to 3 hours of B-roll covering everything that the person is working on. And we are broadcasting 20 times 30 minutes per week, meaning that we need to create a lot of content. And this also means that we have to do 30 minutes programs. Like so the portraits would be 30 minutes. We cannot do it shorter because it takes longer time to produce short movies and more of these. So we have to do it 30 minutes, right? So one of our main focuses, I'm trying to talk very fast because there's a lot. But one of our main focuses when communicating with the young audience is that you need a huge amount of entertainment in the programs. And this can be done in many ways, I believe. I don't think you have to blast it out there just to reach the younger generation. We have to be just in at the same level. So our way of creating entertainment is producing a huge amount of close-ups in our work. So I believe that the inspiration comes from detail. It's not the overall view of a work life or a situation. It is all the detail that catches your eye throughout a workday. We also use a huge amount of background music and graphics to create this high quality content that both entertains and inspires. I think this is really important. Well, for all viewers, actually, not just the young audience. So this is basically basic TV production, right? But one of our main issues too is that our target group is quite young, and I'm not 20 anymore. And I think this is most media's issues, actually. So all of our productions are constantly passed by the young audience. We always have young people at the TV station. We always have interns, volunteers, and we are passing everything that we do is passed by them. And I know that they're in-house, right? So, but their opinion is really important for us from day one. So they know that they can speak up if something is really boring or they're not interested. We take this really seriously because they're our target group. So everybody can speak their mind. And we do this to ensure that the quality in the content applies. It's really important. So we broadcast on Flow TV, but our main focus, and this is what we get our money for. So, but our main focus is YouTube, and we communicate this out on all some social media platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, with TikTok and Instagram as main channels, of course. So Next TV runs on its 5th year now, and I'll just share a bit here. So we run on the 5th year now, and we finally got the funds for here. We finally got the funds for broadcasting and supporting, not broadcasting, sorry, marketing, and also supporting branding out the productions now. We're hugely dependent, because we're a local TV station, we are hugely dependent on people sharing our programs. So meaning that thumbnails and people's personal networks are really important to us. But an example of how putting funds into this, how it affects our branding, it could be our latest reel, targeting the young group. And in only a few days, it reached 5,500 or more than that. Playback, 66 likes and 17 shares or saves. And we hit the target audience. I know this is not a huge numbers, but we only spent 200 krona on this. And I think you should be you should notice this pace of this reel, because it is quite interesting. It's relatively slow. Now I'm actually curious if you can hear the sound, because I set the input. Do you hear the sound right now?
Yes, we do.
Man skal ikke sjuske med tingene, det skal ikke være sjusk, og det er det, der gør det uperfekt. Altså, man må godt have noget fagligt stolthed også omkring sit arbejde. Japanerne siger, at det tager 10 år om at lære håndværket, og 10 år om at glemme det igen. Det der med, at man har 10 år, hvor man virkelig arbejder med processen og sidder og centrerer i 2 måneder, inden man får lov til at gå videre. Altså, det er meget dedikation, og det der med, at håndværket det er ligesom på plads, inden man begynder at lege med form og udtryk og alt muligt sjovt, som også er spændende.
Okay, so this was one of our reels. And I think you can work with entertaining in many ways. It doesn't have to be really fast paced, because we pass this by our young audience too. And they are a little bit, what we hear is that they are quite tired of how fast it goes. They get really tired from this. So they actually like this, but I think it's what we put into the video that's interesting. We'll see how it goes. Now this is really early, actually, when we talk the marketing. But I think 200 kroner and 5,500 playbacks. It's quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to see what happens when we put 1,000 kroner or 5,000 into this. So one of our responsibilities, now I'll talk a little bit about the Media Academy. So one of our responsibilities as a local media, I think that also it doesn't only go in mediation of local stories. I think we have to support education of young people in media too, because we're smaller and we're easy to get in contact with. So I think this is where we might be able to pick somebody up. So with the Media Academy, we invite young people in to be part of the production, and here they learn everything from planning to production and editing, and they actually get real work experience from day one, because we ensure that everything they do will be used. We don't have time not to use it, so we have to ensure the quality of their work. And throughout the past 5 years, we had 56 young people in here who not all, but about 80% actually went on media educations or jobs in the industry after being here. And I think this is quite interesting. We do, to get more people in here, we actually do a lot of work to have an including environment, a good workspace, and also when we are very busy, which we are quite often, it's really important the way we communicate with each other and how we deal with stress and pressure. And I think this is really valuable for the young people when they go out on further to the media industry, how to know how to cope with pressure. So when people start, they often contact us through Instagram. We do a huge amount of work to show the community there, and they contact us through there. The young generation highly values a good working environment and a good community. So the Media Academy and Next TV runs with a huge amount of sponsors who are supporting our goal and the mission. So we have sponsors as Condor Blue, Shure, Audio Technica, Sigma, Acer, and so forth. We have a lot who are helping us with gear, and this year we're starting with workshops too. So I'm really excited about that. And we also collaborate with bigger studies as SGU and UCL to ensure that we have a connection with the students in the city. So I hope that I gave you a good view on how we work here at our place. This is an image of a young woman. I'm not sure she's been with us for that long, maybe a month, and she knows how to produce our work-life portrait. It's quite a tough production, but she can do that now. So I'm really happy about that. So we are training them. It's quite fast, and she wanted a job in the media industry. So I said, okay, we can take you in, and it will be really tough, but if you want, I'm up for that. And she can actually produce now. I'm really happy about that. She didn't know very much about cameras or anything from the beginning. Yeah. So very shortly about the European network that we are part of, Next Generation Hub. I cannot take that much from that because it is an internal group. I thought that I could share more about that, but I do know that some of the bigger medias are changing their programs, the way that they edit. They changed it for TikTok, and there's a huge dialogue about that because nobody agrees on what is right and what's wrong for this. So when you change it high pace, change the content, change how much should be told in very short time, when you do that, you lose maybe integrity, and you also lose some of the value that was in the program. And I think this is a really interesting dialogue we're having there because nobody agrees, but you can see that the ones who change their content, you can see that they get millions of views. So it is working. But I'm not sure if we educate the young viewer the right way. I'm not sure about that. But this is some of the only thing I can really tell about the way that we work, because it's open dialogue in that forum, but it's kind of closed. So, but you're welcome to ask anything, and I'll do my best to answer. I don't know if that helped at all. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know if I have any more. Oh, this is a video of the way that we worked a few years ago. This was with our first year. This was that was a live stream, a 5-camera live stream, and most of the young people had never been standing behind a camera, and we actually did the whole thing while teaching throughout the whole thing. So I was producing, and I was like, "Oh, you need a little less space. Good, hold that, you're on." And they had the best time, and everybody was doing very great. So yeah, that was it from me.
Well, thank you, Pernille.